welcome back to my channel, Jamie Sage Knits, where we talk about knitting, yarn, fiber arts, mostly knitting. Today I'll be talking about my fall knitting plans, where I'll walk you through the works in progress that I'm planning to finish this fall and some of the new projects that I'm hoping to cast on. I also will be talking about some of the projects I considered, but for whatever reason I chose not to prioritize them for this season. Definitely doesn't mean I won't do them in the future, but for whatever reason, these projects just kind of edged them out. So before we dive into that, I do want to mention the shirt that I'm wearing now. This is the Kutar top by Sari Nordland, and I talked about this a bit more in my first podcast. It has a beautiful lace design going into a plain stockinette in the body, and I'm just trying to get some final wear out of my summer projects before it gets too cold. The first project I want to talk about a little bit is actually not a fall-winter project, but it is one that I'm planning to prioritize, so I thought I would mention it for accountability. This is the Molinas dress by Inez Oliveira, and I talked about this one as well on the podcast. It's just a bit of a slog for me personally. It's stockinette, knit flat. You can see I'm making my way through. I would say I'm like getting close to being done with the skirt, and I really would just love to keep chipping away at it and have it done ready to wear next spring. And I thought I would mention it here because it is a pretty time-consuming project, and it's one that I think might be more fun to kind of intersperse with other projects. So if you want to have it ready for next spring and summer, you could consider casting it on this fall and having some time so you don't have to rush through it. The second project I want to talk about is another one I mentioned in my podcast. My main project that I'm working on right now, and this is the Wishbone sweater by Veronica Lindberg or Kutavakika. I started this sweater as well back in the spring. I had just finished her Arctic Light sweater, which is one of my favorite projects of all time. Would definitely recommend. And I was excited to dive right into this one as well. But after a few weeks of working on it, it got so hot that even with the AC in my apartment, I just couldn't hold this in my lap. So I put it on pause, hibernated it over the summer, and then I was really excited to pick it back up a couple weeks ago. And the sweater has a really interesting construction where it's knit top down. It does have some short rows, as you can see. And it's knit in the round for the yoke kind of up to this point. And then it is split into front and back panels and then joined in the round again. And then the drop shoulder sleeves are kind of picked up. There are these shoulder seams on top as well that kind of go down. All right. It's a little hard to show. There we go. There are these shoulder seams that go down in between the all over cables. And I just think it looks really beautiful, unique. It's all in half twisted rib. So that makes beautiful stitch definition, but it is a little bit time consuming. So I am chugging away at this. I just finished one of the sleeves a couple days ago, picked up the other sleeve, and I'm starting on that, working on the decreases there. And then I left the body on hold so that once I'm done with the sleeves, I can go back and just use whatever remaining yarn I have to make it kind of as long as possible. And I am knitting this in a size large to XL for about 10 inches of positive ease. I thought it would be nice to have kind of a more oversized fit, and you'll probably notice that is something I'm trying to incorporate more into my wardrobe. And so I think the pattern recommendation and the example on Ravelry probably has neutral ease or a couple inches of positive ease, and I just wanted a different fit for myself. And I'll mention as well, I am knitting this in Drops Daisy in light nougat with Drops Kid Silk in light beige. So this is 100% wool, non-superwash, DK weight held together with a mohair lace weight. This one specifically is 75% mohair and 25% kid silk. And this is knit on 5mm needles. I'm really excited to finish this up, hopefully in the next week or two, and get to wear it this fall. The next project I want to mention is another one that I had started back in the winter and did not have the chance to finish. This one I had to hibernate because I didn't exactly run out of yarn, but I highly suspected that I would run out of yarn, and I wanted to retain some yarn to be able to do some blending and try out helical knitting, and so I decided to put it on hold until the fall when I place my big yarn order. So this is the Caramel Sweater by Petite Knit, and it's a pretty simple raglan turtleneck, and she even has several patterns that fit that criteria, but I decided on the caramel sweater specifically because of this nice 2x2 ribbing detail and because it does not have a split hem. And you'll see I already finished the body. It's crumpling a little bit because of the ribbing, but I think it'll relax with blocking. And I basically got to the sleeves and realized that I only had this much mohair left. And I was like, I don't think that's gonna work. So I decided to put it on hold. I have this much wool plus one more 50-gram ball. So decided to play it safe. Sometimes I'll play yarn chicken, but this was a little intense even for me. And this yarn, you'll notice I've been using a lot of drops yarn because I tend to kind of do budget yarn for especially my larger sweater projects, and save more like special yarn for smaller projects just to be budget conscious. And I have always had a great experience with these yarns, so I'm really happy with them. This one specifically is Drops Flora in the color red. So this is 65% wool, 35% alpaca. And then that's a fingering weight yarn. And this is held again with Drops Kid Silk in the color red. And this sweater is knit, I believe, on 3.5 or 4 millimeter needles. And I'm knitting a size large because it is designed with 4 to 6 inches of positive ease, and I wanted a little bit looser. As I mentioned with the wishbone sweater, I'm trying to add a couple more oversized slouchy sweaters into my wardrobe. So that is this sweater. I'm so excited. I think the color is so beautiful. It'll be really nice to wear for fall and for winter, and I'm planning to jump right back into this one after I finish the wishbone sweater. With both of these, I'm feeling really motivated to get them finished. I don't want to get stuck on Sleeve Island, and so we will see how that goes. You might notice for both of those, I have the sleeves on double pointed needles, and that's because I definitely prefer DPNs over the magic loop method, but I am thinking about investing in a 16-inch, maybe even like a 12-inch interchangeable needle set. So if you have one that you would recommend, please let me know in the comments below. Thinking of making that purchase soon, especially with all the sweaters that I'll be knitting in the next few months. So the next project I have planned, I have not started yet, don't have anything to show you there, but it's the BB sweater by Spectacle Streak. And this is the same designer who made the wave sweater, which I feel like has been really popular the last couple of years. I love that pattern too, but it's not really my style. So I was looking at this designer's other patterns, and the BB sweater really stood out to me because it's such intricate, beautiful color work. I thought it would be really fun and engaging, and I will just be so proud once I finish that project. And that is knit with a lace weight or light fingering weight yarn held together with a mohair. There are 8 colors if you kind of alternate the rows, if that makes sense. I'm planning to use the same color. Hopefully there'll be a photo over here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I think in her pattern she maybe alternates like blue and pink, something like that. I'm planning to do those sections all in the same color just to simplify it a little bit, and on her Ravelry page some of the projects have that more simplified color scheme, which I think looks really nice. So I chose, again, Drops Flora and Drops Kid Silk, the same combination that I just showed for the caramel sweater. I've been having a really good experience, loving the drape, loving the experience of knitting with them. So I'm excited to try that again. And that project is knit on 3.5 millimeter needles. I'm planning to make a size medium. The sizing ranges from 40.5 to 59 inches. And I think I said did I say the construction is bottom up, which is not my favorite. I like being able to knit from the top down so you can try it on as you go along, and then as you get to the bottom you can decide exactly where to cut it off based on what length flatters your body. But I guess this will just be one where I'll have to trust the process, trust the designer. With more simple projects, sometimes I've tried to like reverse engineer it and knit it top down anyway, but with this one I don't think I will be trying that, so we'll see how it goes. And I do already have the yarn for this project. I'm planning to do the background in white, and then for the color work motif I'm planning to do a combination of pinks and some greens, and a little bit of blue and a little bit of yellow for some of the kind of highlights. So I'm really excited to get that one started. Looking forward to updating on that. The next sweater that I'm planning to do is the Fat Timeless sweater by Aya Knit, or AIA. I was really looking for like a chunkier, simple, casual sweater. Really like this one that I found on Instagram. I think it's knit recommended with cotton and then a fingering weight fuzzy yarn, like not necessarily lace mohair, something a bit thicker than that. So I chose Drops Muscat, which is a mercerized cotton. This one's in the color light mint, and then I'm planning to hold that together with brushed alpaca silk in the color pistachio ice cream. And I had some of this left over from a previous project. I really love it. I think it's so soft and fuzzy, and I think it will make a beautiful sweater that I'll be able to wear hopefully across many seasons. Like maybe it won't be so much of a winter super cold weather sweater, but I feel like I already have a good number of those. This will be nice for like fall, maybe spring, and the cotton hopefully will make it like a little more lightweight but still pretty cozy. So I'm excited for that one, and that is knit on 6mm needles. I'm planning to knit a size 2, and the sizing ranges from 47 to 59 inches. The construction is top down with drop shoulders. So I'm really excited. I think that'll be nice to have something with slightly thicker needles and like chunkier yarn, so it'll knit up more quickly, especially after the like 3.5mm intense colorwork sweater. The next project I have in mind is the Musselburgh Hat by Isolde Teague. I have seen numerous people talk about this hat. I know it's a really popular pattern on Ravelry. It has like tens of thousands of projects, and it seems like a really cool construction in terms of the like reversible nature and how it's just kind of like a big tube. And it also seems like a great pattern to show off a unique or hand-dyed yarn. So that is what I'm planning to do with this skein. I got this at Woolen during the New York City yarn crawl. This is from Northwoods Fibers, the butternut sock yarn, which is fingering weight, in the color Reef Life. This is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. It's this beautiful light turquoise base with bits of purple, yellow, lime green, fuchsia, and kind of this like dark teal. And I am so excited to knit this up and see how the hat turns out. I think it'll be really fun. I think the color will actually work pretty well, and it'll be a nice pop of color for the winter time. And that brings us to the end of my fall projects. I think that'll keep me pretty occupied, finishing the sleeves on the wishbone sweater and the caramel sweater, and then having that fun colorwork project of the baby sweater, the more simple, quick to knit up Fat Timeless sweater, and then the Musselburgh hat. I also will probably make a few small items for my bachelorette party. I talked about this a bit in my New York City yarn crawl video. I bought all of the yarn that I'll need for those projects, and I'm planning to do either headbands or fingerless gloves, or maybe like a combination of both. So that will be pretty fun, and we'll see how things go with that. Now I want to talk about a few projects that I won't be knitting, but it's not because I don't like them or think they're amazing. It's just because there's only so many that I can choose, and I chose the ones that fit in the best with my style, that I was the most excited about, and that kind of fill the gaps in my wardrobe. So like I mentioned, there are a few more sweaters that I want to mention here. The first one is the Lumi pullover by Sari Nordland. Like I mentioned, this shirt is by her, and I really love her pattern writing style, so I definitely could see myself knitting this in the future. It is a really beautiful colorwork pattern. It's like mostly a colorwork yoke, and this is a knit with a worsted weight yarn. It's knitted seamlessly top down with a circular yoke, and the sizing ranges from 31.5 to 63 inches, so a pretty wide range there. Every time I look at this, I do want to knit it so bad, but I already have that big colorwork project of the BB sweater planned, so I think this will have to wait for a future season. The next sweater I want to talk about is the Shine Bauble sweater by Sally Knit. This is another worsted weight construction. It's knit top down. There's not a ton of detail, but it looks like maybe it has a set-in sleeve, and the sizing is not included in the Ravelry description, at least that I could find. But this cable pattern just looks so amazing. This is another one where when I look at it again, I really want to knit it, but the wishbone sweater has so much texture that I did decide to save this one for the future. I think I will come back to it. I just think it's so beautiful, and the cable motif is amazing, but maybe just not for right now. I'm gonna try to mix it up a little bit more. Next, we have the Whitmore Cardigan by Amy Loden. This is knit with DK weight yarn or fingering and mohair held together. This has a top-down construction with a lace circular yoke, and the pattern contains both cropped and full length and bishop or tapered sleeve options. And in terms of sizing, there are sizes to fit a bust of 32 to 61 inches with recommended neutral ease. So this pattern looks so cute. I would love to wear it buttoned up as a shirt like the sample in the photos. But I saw that Knits, another podcaster I follow here, had a pretty bad experience with the circular yoke depth, which makes me a little bit hesitant, especially because there's all these other patterns I'm really excited about. And I also don't like knitting flat, so I'm a bit hesitant to do this cardigan, especially on relatively small needles with like DK weight. So I decided to pause on this one. I did see a lot of other projects on Ravelry and people who gave it good reviews, so I think it sounds like a great pattern and it's really cute. But it's just not one I'm going to prioritize the most now. But when I look at it, there is just something so charming and like whimsical about it, and I think it's really lovely, so I could see myself circling back to it in the future. I would just need to build up the motivation to knit it flat. Next, actually this is another thing that you would have to knit flat and seam, but it's so cute, I think it would be worth it. This is the Cherry Jacket by Hip Knit Shop. So as you can see, this project looks so cozy and fun. It doesn't go perfectly with my style, but I feel like the way it's styled on the website is classic, like wearing it with a white tee and jeans. I could see myself wanting to wear it all the time because it's just like really unique and cute, and it would be exciting to like have made this. I bet it's one that a lot of people would like comment on or give compliments. This is knit with Hip Knit Shop's fluff mohair, and it ranges from 5.5, 6, or 6.5 millimeter needles to create the different size options. That's something I notice with Hip Knit Shop's designs, is that often she takes this approach of having it knit on different needle sizes to create a different gauge in order to create different sizes, but like the number of stitches and everything is the same. So that's pretty interesting. And in terms of the sizing itself, it ranges from 41 to 49 inches for the bust. So it's not a super wide range there. In terms of the construction, you knit squares that you then sew together and then pick up stitches for the sleeve hem and for the collar and button band. So even though I love this so much, there are a couple of things that kept me from knitting at the moment, which is that it requires so many different colors and that the construction seems a little bit heavy on like sewing and picking up stitches, which aren't my favorite things to do. However, if you have scrap yarn that fits this gauge, or if you are someone who gets satisfaction out of this type of construction, I would really recommend it. I honestly think I will knit this at some point just because it's so cute and I would love to have it in my closet, but maybe it'll be one like the Miletus dress that I'll give myself several months to complete, and it won't be something that I knit on like monogamously, but we'll see about that. The next one I want to talk about is the Robinson Wrap Cardigan by Florence Miller. I just think this is such a cute and classic design. It's really flattering. It's really like elegant and simple, and I think it would be so satisfying again to have something like this and get to say that you knit it yourself. It is knit with a fingering and lace weight held together, or a DK weight, and it's knitted top down in one piece using a modified raglan, and there's sizing to fit a bust of 29.5 to 61 inches, so a pretty wide range. This is another one that, like, to me, the style is immaculate. It's just the idea of having to knit this flat that isn't really appealing to me. So if you're someone who enjoys knitting flat or doesn't mind it, I think this would be such a beautiful project to work on. I think depending on the fiber, it could also work across different seasons and you would get more wear out of it. I also want to talk about the Oh My Figure dress by Stein Jorgensen. this dress looks so cool, and I love that on the Ravelry page there are several modifications described to make a shirt instead of a dress, to make different dress lengths, different sleeve lengths. So that is really cool. You could modify it, make a few different versions, even make with like different fibers in order to wear it in different seasons. It is recommended, or like the yarns used and specifically recommended, is a bamboo and mohair held together for a DK weight and knit on 3.5mm needles. The sizing provided is 29 to 47 inches in the bust. And in terms of the construction, it's worked top down in the round with raglan increases, and it's worked entirely in 2x2 rib, and there are increases and decreases throughout to create this curve enhancing shape. So I think this is a really cool dress. I would love to make one at some point, but it wasn't something that I decided to prioritize for this season, but it's definitely in my Ravelry queue for the future. I also wanted to talk about a slipover. I actually have designed a couple of my own slipovers. For whatever reason, that's like the main thing that I've drafted myself. But this one by Katja Durberg, or Pop Knit, I thought was so fun. It's called the Wild Boys Slipover, and the color work is super cute. And of course, you could reuse the pattern to just make the plain version, like make it without color work. So I think it's kind of versatile in that way. And to me, this seems like the perfect fit for a slipover. And she also offers a junior version of the pattern if you want to knit it for a kid, which is really cute. So I just thought it would be fun to include this one. It would probably be a pretty quick project. And like I said, it's nice that you could, use the color work version of the pattern, but you could also adjust it and kind of personalize it in terms of making it a solid color, or even adding in your own other color work design. The recommended yarn is Filcolana Vilia or Arwetta, held with Vilcana alva on 4mm needles. And the construction is described as top down. Front and back panels are knit flat and then joined in the round, probably under the arms. And then the edge details are double knit half twisted rib. In terms of the sizing, it fits a bust of 31.5 to 53.5 inches, so a decent range there. And yeah, like I said, I think this one would be really fun to knit. I definitely could see myself picking it up in another year or so. I wanted to include another beanie. I know I mentioned the Musselburgh, but I also wanted to mention this one, the Rilo beanie by Claire Mountain Manipon. This is a DK weight beanie, and it's a free pattern. I thought it has a really cool cable design, and the sizes include child, adult, and adult large. So this would be a fun one to work on for gifts, or for like a whole family coming up to the holidays. And I really like having cables and hats because it creates a really cool look, but isn't as labor intensive as a cable design for a larger garment. So it's a fun way to practice your cables, or get a little bit of that cable vibe into your outfit, but in a slightly more accessible way. Another beanie or head accessory I wanted to mention is called a New Leaf headband and brim beanie by Carisha or Isle Stitch. This is a super bulky weight yarn, and I like that it has two patterns in one. You can do the headband, or you can do the beanie with kind of the like statement brim. I think this is a really cool design or like method that she uses to create these leaf motifs, and I could see myself using this maybe for the headband pattern or eventually for the beanie pattern. I would just have to check in my stash if I do have any super bulky yarn, but I think this is a really fun one, and it would look cool in a lot of different color combinations. And then the final thing I want to mention is called Kuno's Cushions by Anne Wenzel. This is an Aran weight project, and I wanted to include a home accessory because I think it can be fun to just kind of mix up your projects, and this seems like it would be really fun to knit up, and it could be a nice Christmas present or just a nice addition to your own home for the changing of the seasons. So that is everything that I wanted to talk about today. I hope that maybe you got some inspiration from this video. Definitely let me know down below if you are knitting these, have knit any of these, or maybe after watching if you're planning or excited to check out any of these patterns. So I hope to see you again on my channel soon. I hope you will consider liking, commenting, even subscribing to my channel to keep up with my upcoming videos. And thank you for watching today. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and happy knitting.